Did you know that by the time you finish this video, hundreds of people just like you will have started forgetting something and won't even realize it? Not because they're aging, not because they're careless, but because no one told them what's really going on inside their brain. You've probably heard it before. Forgetfulness is just part of getting older. Well, science says that's not the full story. There's something silent happening, something that makes neurons shrink, memories blur, and conversations harder to follow. But here's the empowering part. You're not helpless in this. Because today, we're going to walk through 8 everyday foods that can actually help protect and even rebuild your memory. And the best part, you may already have some of them in your kitchen. Stick around, your brain will thank you. If this video gave you even one useful insight or just made you feel a little more in control of your health, consider subscribing to Healthy Cramps. We're not here to sell you magic pills. We're here to share real science, real stories, and real ways to feel stronger every day. Leave us a comment below with your age, or just tell us which brain food you're most curious to try. We read every single one, because here, you matter. Let's keep your mind as sharp as your story deserves to be. Most seniors believe memory loss is just part of getting older. A little forgetfulness here, a missed appointment there, that's normal, right? But what if I told you that over 99% of seniors have no idea their brain health is being sabotaged every single day by things they eat, drink, or don't eat at all? Scientists have a term for this: silent brain inflammation. It sounds technical, but here's the simple truth. It's when your brain gets irritated on the inside, and over time, that irritation starts damaging your memory cells. The good news, there are specific foods that can calm this fire. Not pills, not complicated regimens, just real, natural ingredients that help your brain stay sharp. And yet almost nobody knows about them. So let's change that. Together. Coming up next, who's benefiting from this confusion? The answer might make you raise an eyebrow. Let's talk about something most health videos won't. Who profits when you forget? There's a $355 billion industry quietly thriving on memory decline. Every time you lose your keys, forget a name, or miss a bill payment, someone profits. That someone, big pharmaceutical companies. And before we go any further, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just economics. Most dementia medications don't cure anything. They manage symptoms, often poorly, and usually come with a list of side effects longer than their benefits, keeping you dependent. That's profitable. But here's the thing. They can't patent a blueberry. They can't mark up a mushroom. That's why the foods you're about to learn about aren't widely advertised. Because they work. And they're cheap. And they can help you feel like you again. Next up, we'll talk about what science says, because it's not what you've been told. So, if memory loss isn't just aging, and if pills aren't the magic fix, what does science say? Quite a bit. Actually, let's start with Harvard. Researchers there found that one common snack improved memory recall by 37% in just 6 weeks. Another clinical trial published in the Journal of Medicinal Food showed a natural food that restored memory scores by nearly 50%. And here's the best part. These aren't exotic herbs or expensive imports. They're everyday foods, backed by peer-reviewed science. Now, we'll walk through 8 of the most powerful ones, ranked from helpful to absolutely life-changing. No fluff, no hype, just clear, honest info so you can make real choices for your brain. And trust me, number 1 is something almost no one has in their kitchen, but probably should. But before we get there, let's talk about how this list works. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't just a grocery list. This is a brain-saving plan. We've ranked the 8 foods from useful to you'd better stock up. Each one has been chosen for a specific reason, backed by real clinical research, proven to reduce inflammation, boost memory, or regrow brain cells. Practical for everyday life. But more than that, each food comes with simple, actionable tips. How to cook it, when to eat it, what to avoid, and how to get the most out of every bite. You don't need to memorize it all, just listen. Pick one change at a time, and let your brain do the rest. Ready? Let's begin at number 8. Don't let its ranking fool you. It's one of the most misunderstood brain-boosting foods out there. Coming up next, eggs, the food doctors told you to avoid, but science says you might want back on your plate. You've probably heard it before. Don't eat too many eggs, they're bad for your heart. Well, turns out, That advice was a little scrambled. Recent studies, especially from Harvard and Boston University, have flipped that thinking. One large egg contains 147 milligrams of choline, a critical nutrient your brain needs to make acetylcholine, the chemical behind focus, memory, and learning. Think of it like this. Choline is the fuel. Without it, your brain's signal highway gets jammed. Messages don't get through. Thoughts get foggy. And here's the kicker. The choline in eggs is wrapped in phospholipids, tiny natural carriers that sneak it past the blood. Brain barrier. Supplements can't do that. In a 10-year study, seniors with high choline intake performed like their brains were 7 years younger. But how you cook your eggs matters big time. And that's exactly what we're diving into next. So you're on board with eggs? Great. But not all eggs are created equal, especially once heat gets involved. Here's the deal. High heat destroys choline. Frying eggs until they're rubbery. You're losing up to 20% of their brain benefits. Instead, aim for soft boiling, poaching, or low heat scrambling. Keep the yolk a little runny. That golden center is where most of the brain boosting nutrients live. And here's a bonus trick. Eat eggs with vitamin C. Rich veggies like spinach or bell peppers. Studies show this simple combo can boost choline absorption by up to 30%. Timing also helps. Eating eggs at breakfast gives your brain a choline kick that lasts all day. One last thing. Don't toss the yolk. That's where the lutein and zeaxanthin live, compounds that protect your brain from oxidative stress. Coming up next, a brain food that works in just 2 hours. No. Really, yes. Chocolate. But not the kind wrapped in foil at the checkout line. We're talking dark chocolate, specifically, the kind with at least 70% cacao. Swiss researchers did something fascinating. They gave seniors either white chocolate or dark chocolate. 2 hours later, they tested their memory. The dark chocolate group scored 23% higher. Why? Flavonoids. These natural compounds increase blood flow to the hippocampus, the memory command center of your brain. Flavonoids, especially one called epicatechin, actually grow new blood vessels in your brain. More blood flow means more oxygen. More oxygen means better memory. But not all chocolate makes the cut. Milk chocolate, mostly sugar. And sugar inflames your brain. Want the full benefit? Get the real stuff. Eat 1 to 2 squares, 1 to 2 Oz per day. Up next, a few easy ways to make your chocolate even more powerful, and one mistake that ruins it. Dark chocolate's great, but there's a right way and a wrong way to enjoy it. Let's keep it simple. Don't eat it with milk. Milk proteins bind to flavonoids and block absorption, up to 50% less benefit, according to Italian researchers. Instead, pair your chocolate with nuts, especially walnuts or almonds. This combo creates a perfect storm of brain. Protective compounds. Timing matters. 2. Eat it between 2 and 4 p.m., right when your brain naturally dips in energy. The flavonoids and gentle caffeine kick help boost focus without messing with your sleep. And storage. Keep it in a cool, dark place. Light and heat destroy flavonoids fast. 1 square of quality dark chocolate beats a whole bar of cheap stuff. Got a sweet tooth? This one's easy to love. But up next is something even more important, because without this next nutrient, your brain can actually shrink. Here's something wild. Your brain is about 60% fat, not the bad kind, omega-3s. These special fats help neurons fire, repair themselves, and stay healthy. One in particular, DHA, makes up 20% of your brain's total fat. And without enough of it, your brain can literally shrink. UCLA scanned the brains of 500 seniors. Those with low DHA had smaller hippocampi, the part of the brain responsible for memory. But the good news, seniors who ate fatty fish twice a week for 6 months grew brain volume. Yes, grew. Wild salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring are DHA powerhouses. Just 1 serving of salmon gives you 500 milligrams of DHA, enough to nourish your brain for days. But the way you cook fish matters. A lot. And that's what we'll cover in the next section. Cooking fish seems simple, but the wrong method can destroy everything your brain needs from it. Here's the truth. Frying fish at high heat breaks down omega-3s into useless or worse toxic compounds. Even worse, it creates trans fats, which actually damage brain cells. The fix is easy. Steam, poach, or bake at temps below 400 degrees. Add lemon juice before cooking. Vitamin C helps protect omega-3s during heat. Avoid farmed salmon. It has about 50% less DHA and higher pollutants compared to wild caught. Oh, and dinner is the best time. Your brain repairs itself during sleep, and DHA helps rebuild connections overnight. Fish not your thing. No problem. Up next, we'll talk about the one fish alternative that works just as well, if you use it right. If the smell or taste of fish just isn't for you, you're not alone. Roughly 20% of people have a genetic variant that makes fish taste metallic. So here's a reliable backup. Fish oil supplements. But not just any fish oil. Look for one with at least 1,000 milligram combined EPA and DHA. And ideally, more EPA than DHA. EPA is great at calming brain inflammation. And here's the kicker. Take it with a meal that contains fat. Your body absorbs just 10% of omega-3s on an empty stomach. With fat, absorption jumps to 50%. Choose high quality brands. Cheap ones are often oxidized, which makes them harmful instead of helpful. Capsules not your style. Omega-3. Rich algae oil is a good plant-based option. Now that we've got the fats covered, let's talk about something way less glamorous, but just as powerful. Beans. Beans aren't trendy. They don't have fancy packaging or celebrity endorsements. But for your brain, they're kind of amazing. Japanese researchers tracked 1,000 seniors for 15 years. Those who ate beans daily had 40% less cognitive decline. Black beans are packed with folate, magnesium, and resistant starch, a combo that protects neurons, fuels gut health, and supports memory. Folate is especially underrated. Low folate levels triple the risk of dementia. 1 cup of black beans gives you 60% of your daily folate needs. And get this, beans release nutrients slowly, giving your brain steady energy, no spikes or crashes. Even better, the resistant starch feeds good gut bacteria that make anti-inflammatory compounds. Up next, how to eat beans without the side effects. Let's be real. Beans are great for your brain, but not always for your stomach. Gas, bloating, digestive drama, it's enough to make anyone skip them. But here's the fix. Soak your beans overnight. This breaks down lectins and hard-to digest sugars. Add a teaspoon of baking soda to the soak water to make them even gentler. When it's time to cook, use spices like cumin, ginger, or fennel seeds. These not only help digestion, but also boost nutrient absorption. And don't cook beans in aluminum pots. Over time, aluminum can leach into food, and some research links it to cognitive issues. Instead, use stainless steel or ceramic. Finally, pair beans with vitamin C. Rich foods like tomatoes or bell peppers. This boosts iron absorption by 400%, and iron is essential for brain chemistry. Coming up next, a group of foods that literally give your brain more to work with. Nuts are powerful, but only if you eat them right. First rule, go raw or dry roasted. Avoid nuts that are oil, roasted or heavily salted. The added oils are usually inflammatory omega-6s, and excess salt reduces blood flow to the brain. Portion matters. 2. Aim for 1 ounce per day, roughly a handful, 23 almonds, 14 walnut halves, or 18 cashews. More isn't better. Nuts are calorie dense, and excess weight is linked to higher dementia risk. Timing. Morning or early afternoon is best. They give steady energy without blood sugar spikes. For easier digestion, soak almonds overnight. This removes phytic acid, which blocks nutrient absorption. Bonus tip. Pair nuts with dried fruit. The natural sugars help transport nutrients into brain cells. Coming up next, the tiny berry with a massive memory payoff backed by 20 years of research. There's a reason researchers call them brain berries. In a 20-year Harvard study of 16,000 women, those who ate blueberries twice a week delayed memory decline by 5 years. That's not a small difference. That's decades of clarity, conversations, and confidence. The magic comes from anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that cross the blood, brain barrier and protect memory cells. But they don't just protect, they stimulate new neuron growth in the hippocampus. In one study, older rats fed blueberries navigated mazes like young ones again. In humans, Seniors taking blueberry powder improved word recall by 33%. Fresh berries are great. Frozen wild blueberries are even better, twice the antioxidant power and available year. Round, but how you eat them and what you eat them with can double their effect. Let's dive into that next. There's a reason researchers call them brain berries. In a 20-year Harvard study of 16,000 women, those who ate blueberries twice a week delayed memory decline by 5 years. That's not a small difference. That's decades of clarity, conversations, and confidence. The magic comes from anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that cross the blood-brain barrier and protect memory cells. But they don't just protect, they stimulate new neuron growth in the hippocampus. In one study, older rats fed blueberries navigated mazes like young ones again. In humans, seniors taking blueberry powder improved word recall by 33%. Fresh berries are great. Frozen wild blueberries are even better, twice the antioxidant power and available year. Round, but how you eat them and what you eat them with can double their effect. Let's dive into that next. To get the most out of blueberries, timing and pairing matter. Start your day with them. Adding blueberries to oatmeal or yogurt creates the perfect combo. Oats give your brain steady fuel, and yogurt's probiotics help absorb anthocyanins more effectively. Frozen wild blueberries are ideal. They retain nutrients and have twice the antioxidant power of fresh cultivated ones. Just don't wash them until you're ready to eat. Water speeds spoilage. Store them unwashed in the fridge with paper towels to absorb moisture. They'll last a week. Portion tip: half a cup per day is great. More than a cup doesn't add extra benefit and may add extra sugar if you're using sweetened yogurt. And one more thing, if you're buying organic, it's worth it. Conventional berries often carry pesticide residues, which can interfere with brain function. Next, we're going Mediterranean for one of the most powerful brain oils on the planet. There's a reason researchers call them brain berries. In a 20-year Harvard study of 16,000 women, those who ate blueberries twice a week delayed memory decline by 5 years. That's not a small difference. That's decades of clarity, conversations, and confidence. The magic comes from anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that cross the blood-brain barrier and protect memory cells. But they don't just protect, they stimulate new neuron growth in the hippocampus. In one study, older rats fed blueberries navigated mazes like young ones again. In humans, seniors taking blueberry powder improved word recall by 33%. Fresh berries are great. Frozen wild blueberries are even better, twice the antioxidant power and available year. Round, but how you eat them and what you eat them with can double their effect. Let's dive into that next. Extra virgin olive oil only works if you treat it right. Here's the biggest mistake: cooking it at high heat. Once temperatures go above 375 degrees, the polyphenols, those brain cleansing compounds, start to break down. Even worse, it can turn into harmful fats that do the opposite of what we want. So here's how to use it. Drizzle it raw on salads, soups, or cooked veggies. Use for low temp sautéing only. Think gentle heat. Never fry with it or use it like canola oil. Also, don't buy olive oil in clear plastic bottles. Light and air destroy those precious nutrients. Instead, go for dark glass or tins and check for a harvest date, not just expiration. Freshness matters. Store it in a cool, dark spot, not next to the stove, and never in the fridge. Now, ready for the one brain. Boosting food on the list. It looks weird, but it's changing everything we thought we knew about memory. Let's introduce the most fascinating food on this list: lion's mane mushroom. It looks like a shaggy white ball, but don't let its funny shape fool you. This mushroom might just be the closest thing we have to natural brain regeneration. Why? Because it contains two rare compounds, hericinones and erinosines. These activate something called NGF, nerve growth factor, a protein your brain uses to grow new neurons and repair damaged ones. A 2022 double-blind clinical trial showed that adults over 65 who took lion's mane for 12 weeks saw clear improvements in memory, focus, and word recall. Even participants with mild cognitive impairment experienced benefits. And here's what's even more telling. When they stopped taking it, the improvements faded. That's how we know it wasn't just a placebo. Let's talk about how to actually eat this mushroom and enjoy it. Okay, so lion's mane might look a little strange, like a fuzzy white puffball, but it's surprisingly tasty and easy to cook. The best way: slice it thick, like a scallop or steak. Brush lightly with extra virgin olive oil. Sprinkle with garlic powder or thyme, and saute over medium heat for 5 to 6 minutes per side. You'll get a golden brown, meaty texture that's tender and satisfying, especially for seniors who prefer soft foods. Serve it with steamed vegetables, over brown rice, or even in a warm mushroom soup. Worried you can't find it fresh? No problem. There are other ways to get the same brain benefits. Let's look at supplements next and what to avoid. Because not all lion's mane products are created equal. If you can't find fresh lion's mane, supplements are a solid option. But here's the tricky part. Most of them are weak, or worse, fake. Look for these words on the label. Fruit body only. That's where the NGF boosting compounds live. Avoid anything that says mycelium on grain. That's filler, and you're mostly paying for rice. Best dosage. Start with 500 milligrams twice daily, once in the morning, once at night. Capsules or powders are fine. Just store them in a cool, dry place, away from your stove. Humidity and heat destroy the potency over time. Another gentle option: lion's mane tea. Just steep 1 teaspoon of dried mushroom in hot water for 10 minutes. Now that you know how to use it, let's talk about how it actually feels when lion's mane starts working. By now, you've seen the list of eggs, chocolate, fatty fish, beans, berries, mushrooms. Each one is powerful on its own, but together, they're a game changer. Think of your brain like a garden. One food waters it, another brings sunlight, another adds nutrients to the soil. Alone, they help, but together, they grow something lasting. That's the beauty of these natural tools. They're not just band-aids, they're rebuilders, maintainers, defenders. You don't need to change your whole diet overnight. Start simple. Eggs for breakfast. Blueberries with oatmeal. Fish for dinner twice a week. Nuts or dark chocolate for a midday snack. And if you can add a little lion's mane, up next. We'll wrap it all up with a gentle reminder. You still have time. You still have power. Let's finish this together. Let's pause for a second and ask the big question. Is memory loss just part of aging? Sure. The brain changes with age, just like your knees or your eyesight. But losing names, forgetting faces, or getting lost in a sentence, that's not just age. It's often a mix of inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, and weakened blood flow. And guess what? All three of those are changeable. The foods we've talked about don't just slow the decline. Some of them actually help your brain rebuild. That's a huge shift from managing symptoms to reclaiming function. So if you've ever blamed yourself or felt like it's too late, I'm here to remind you, it's not. Up next, I'll share what actually happens in your brain when you start changing how you eat. This part's powerful because it's not about theory anymore. It's about you. When you start nourishing your brain, changes come in waves, not fireworks. At first, it's subtle. You might finish a sentence more easily. You may remember where you left your glasses or feel less fog after lunch. That's your brain rebalancing. It's getting the fuel it's been missing, the building blocks it needs to reconnect and repair. Think of it like this. Your memory isn't broken. It's underfed. And when the nutrients return, choline, omega-3, antioxidants, your neurons start talking again. Clearer, faster. Blood flow improves. Inflammation goes down. You sleep better. You process conversations with more ease. These are not miracles. They're biology, finally working in your favor. Next, we'll talk about where to begin. Because the list may feel long, but the first step, it's simple. And it starts with something already in your kitchen. When you start nourishing your brain, changes come in waves, not fireworks. At first, it's subtle. You might finish a sentence more easily. You may remember where you left your glasses or feel less fog after lunch. That's your brain rebalancing. It's getting the fuel it's been missing, the building blocks it needs to reconnect and repair. Think of it like this. Your memory isn't broken. It's underfed. And when the nutrients return, choline, omega-3, antioxidants, your neurons start talking again. Clearer, faster. Blood flow improves. Inflammation goes down. You sleep better. You process conversations with more ease. These are not miracles. They're biology, finally working in your favor. Next, we'll talk about where to begin. Because the list may feel long, but the first step, it's simple. And it starts with something already in your kitchen. If you're wondering, where do I even begin? You're not alone. So here's the truth. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to do one thing today. Start with what feels easiest. Make eggs your go. To breakfast. Swap one snack for a handful of nuts. Add frozen blueberries to your yogurt. Try dark chocolate instead of dessert. This isn't about a perfect diet. It's about creating momentum. And once you feel a small win, clearer focus. Better recall, you'll want to keep going. You have more power than you've been told. And now, you have a map. Up next, in our final part, I'll wrap everything up with a message I think you need to hear, especially if you've ever doubted your brain or yourself. Let's finish this strong. If you've made it this far, you're already doing something powerful. You're choosing awareness over fear. That matters more than you think, because memory loss doesn't mean you're fading. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is asking for help. And today, you've learned exactly how to give it what it needs. So be proud. You showed up. You listened. You opened the door to healing, clarity, and confidence. And no matter what age you are, your mind is still your own. It's still capable, still growing, still yours. In the next and final part, I'll leave you with one small request and a way we can keep growing. Together, let's take a breath. We've covered a lot, from the foods that rebuild your neurons to the small shifts that can sharpen your focus, lift the fog, and help you feel more you again. But here's the real takeaway. Memory loss is not your destiny. Your brain is not failing, it's waiting for the nutrients, the rhythm, the care you just learned how to give it. And every bite, every choice, every step forward, it all counts. No one's asking you to be perfect. But today, you've done something rare. You've chosen to take back control. And that's exactly what Healthy Cramps is here to help you do. One day, one story, one science, backed tool at a time. So if this video made you feel even a little more confident about your brain, subscribe to Healthy Cramps. Not for the algorithm. For you. For your clarity. For your independence. For the stories you still want to tell. And remember, because your best years, they're not behind you. They're finally starting to make sense. Let's keep going, together.